understand and asking what's going on, and if they're aware of breaking the rules. So if you need to grab a student and pull them aside and chit chat with them, you can ask them, "You doing okay today?" They're not saying focused. "Do you know that you're breaking rules? Which one?" And you can give a reminder, a warning for those disruptive behaviors. And if it continues throughout a class over and over and over again on one day specifically, so it's been 2, 3, 4 times of disruptive behavior, and you've asked them to do, "Johnny, that's like the 4th time," or whatever, you can ask for help from the board of directors if you're all done. I know you guys have your own strategies for dealing with kids. But if you're all done and you can't deal with it anymore, you can come get a board of director, or you can come get a dad on duty if they're available, so that they can help. And in that way, we would like to offer you support, and we've come up with a couple. I just want you to be prepared for this. I personally didn't love coming up with this, but it happens when kids are kids sometimes, so if you could pass that around. This is K through 6, and then I'll start back here. This is 7 through 12. So there's 2 sheets if it goes really far, right? You guys have all kinds of examples in your mind of how a class can get out of control, or a child can be told on several occasions to honor, and they're just not honoring. They're not staying above the line. They're not collaborating. They're not being respectful. They're not honoring you. And then it gets out of control. Come get us. We're going to work with you and that child and these sheets. So, those sheets say, the K through 6 basically is an assessment, and it's done by the teacher. By the board of directors along with that teacher. So which rule were they really not complying with over and over again? I'm not saying one time. This is a troubled class that you just can't get a hold of. I just believe in you guys. I know it's not going to get to this, but if it does, this is what we have set up. So they're going to help you figure out which rule they were not following. And then if there's details to support that, that's what goes next. This is what that student agrees to get back on track. They can fill it out with the board of directors if they're old enough. If they're not old enough, they can use their words, and the board of directors will fill it out for them. So then the student will agree to the above the line behavior from this point forward. And then if they agree, they check that box, "I will." If not, then they have a really not fun thing to do next. Instead, I choose to write or recite each class rule and why the following rules and expectations are important for my class and myself. Well, of course, they're going to choose the first one because they're not going to want to do any of that yucky stuff. So the next is teacher support. Is there anything that we can do on our end? Is there anything that we're not understanding? Or how can we come alongside you to understand what they need better so we can help them get back on track and to make it, sweet time for learning and sweet time for fellowship, okay? And so then the next week, it's up to the parent to really work with that child and come back, check in with the teacher, after class, where those infractions were happening, and just make sure that things are getting back on track. Show your involvement as a parent and say, "How's my kiddo doing? Are we back on track? We're working together. Is there anything I can do to help? Is there anything I can do to help? We're just working together." That's it. And then the other one, the 7th to 12th grade one, thank you, is something really where those olders can get involved. So they really are taking a reflective look in the mirror to find out, why am I acting this way? And it's basically the same thing. They're just going to get themselves back on track. That's the hope, is that it's going to be self-correcting through this whole thing. We don't anticipate anything, right? This is just, I find that if you don't prepare for things and something comes up, you don't have time to create a workaround. But if if you do it up front in hopes that nothing will happen anyway. You have something in case you know. It's a tool. And it's maybe not a perfect tool, so if you guys have other ideas, we're definitely open.
Well, the whole, can I interject too?
Please.
The whole point of what we've created here is for support for the teachers, but also support for the kids. Because if there is a kid that is struggling, sitting still in class, and it's being disruptive, then you as parents probably want to know, but also you as parents can help that teacher to best help that kid be successful. So we want the whole purpose of it is to support teachers and to support your kids so that we can love your kids in the right way and help everybody be a success.
Right, and we have to nurture them. Some of these kids are familiar with being in a group setting with learning, and some of these homeschool kids aren't familiar with it. And so they need a little bit of modeling. They need a little bit of repetition to learn these rules. And they need to be able to see it in some of their peers, and they need to be able to see the teachers reinforcing it. So that's part of it too. But they'll see us working together collaboratively. And I don't know, when you look at the rules, if you think, oh my gosh, we're going to do great on these, or I have one child that number 2, I better tell them right now when I get home, to study number 2 or whatever. But I have a blurter. And so I have a child that blurts out, and so I've talked to him about it, and I'm like, look, we're not going to be blurting out, are we? So we'll see. Yes, ma'am.
I think as teachers, we need to lay out our expectations too. Like, Lorelai can be disruptive. Like, I've noticed in things like VBS where she doesn't know what is expected of her and how it's going to go.
Right, and that's the reinforcement I was talking about.
So like the beginning.
When I did Bible last year, I spent the first 3 weeks. I had 6 minutes just setting up expectations for those kids, and then just reinforcing it.
And my other thing, are we going to use our Mrs. Stapleton and Mrs. Steiner?
I prefer that.
I totally prefer that. I think that just instills respect from
Some
the beginning.
of us have been friends for a long time, and a lot of the kids know me as Sari, but I think at school, Mrs. Steiner's great. I do. I think it's honorable. Do you guys agree? Mm-hmm. Mrs. Mrs. Yes. Everybody?
Yeah, even just the sheet that Sari made for us, like this is really just helpful to just have that in your book, and then you whip it out and you go, okay, you guys, let's get above the line or whatever. It's just really use that verbiage, and it just gets them on track.
Right, and I think repetitive-wise, especially for the youngers, just to go over the rules really quick, to hear each other saying it is helpful. I really don't know what that's going to look like in the high school group, because you're probably not going to be sitting there having them read those rules out loud, right? Like, I just don't think so. That would be...
I don't know your kids, but I would think that we would have to worry about that.
Well, you wouldn't think so. You wouldn't think so. So it'll look different. I mean, they're available there if you need to show them.
I don't know. There's a lot of girls. They might get chatty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true.
So then you only have 40-45 minutes for your classroom. So you need to ask for their help too, right? You need to ask them to honor that time and to help you get your lesson into their knower. So that's not always easy. Do I have anything else?